I did this because my ex-wife left me for my closest buddy, and when I confronted her, he grabbed me by the neck. A year and a half ago, my 7-meter ex-wife, 48 foot, left me for a man who was married to her best buddy from high school. She ended up being a friend, right? After 20 years of marriage, we had what I believe to be 2 children together. I just learned that my 6-year-old kid is not really mine. He owns her. Since this has been my daughter and the birth certificate is a legally binding document, I do plan to fight for custody. She knew this from the first day of her pregnancy and kept it from me. That is my kid, even though she is not blood. This affair has obviously been going on for a while. It was a kick in the teeth to find out. She responded, "It's him," when I inquired if it was me or him. Why? Because after sex, he can quickly bring it back up and continue. That's the sole explanation. Segs. In order for her to stay at home, raise our children, and cheat on me, I worked 2 jobs to pay for her education and continue to do so. In order to convince her to have a family, I sacrificed my music career and aspirations for her. In my life, they have been the most important thing. My former partner has always been aloof. Her life wasn't always easy, and she has bipolar disorder. I put up with her outbursts and emotional and physical violence because I believed she couldn't stop it, even though it was heartbreaking. As it happens, that wasn't totally accurate. She told people that she frequently hit me when she wasn't getting her way or just felt like it. She had repeatedly struck and verbally abused me in front of my children, and each time I accepted it without retaliating and detesting my children for having to see. She became upset with me for not taking out the garbage when I got home. And at one point at the end, she grabbed me by the neck and began to squeeze while my son watched in horror. I assured her that our son would never forget this, and she released me. I ought to have departed long ago. I finally understand this. I would like to believe that I would have if it weren't for my kids. However, I hope that my wife would return to the person I fell in love with someday because I didn't want their house to be a broken place. I've been aware for years that those days are long gone. Following the revelation of all the facts, my wife sat down with her friend whose husband she had been having an affair with and told her bluntly, "Yes, it's true. No, I'm not sorry." My wife then stood up and left. This is what her friend told me. After leaving with the kids, my wife moved in with him in an apartment behind ours. I still hope that she would see that he wasn't the better option. She is aware that he had strayed on his own wife multiple times in addition to my wife. I waited for her to return for the whole first year. She retained the keys, and since she knew she would return home, I thought she was still keeping them. However, they resumed their harsh behavior at the conclusion of that year, with him frequently stopping by the bus stop while I was loading the children onto the bus for school and saying, "I've come to see my daughter off to school." My daughter, not yours. I asked him why he had been so happy for the previous 5 years to let me raise her, give her my last name, be present at her birth, and raise her as my own. You were where? Why is my name, rather than yours, listed as her father on the certificate? At the end of the night, he turned up to fight, which got me a drunken visit from both of them and nearly earned me a punch to the face. After that, my ex made the decision to go public, boasting about her new beau on Facebook. Our buddies were astonished and contacted me and his spouse over it. I took care to take as many screenshots as I could. With our impending divorce, she has created a hole for herself, but she doesn't seem to care. Why should she though? I've already obtained a paternity test for her. At the conclusion, my self-destructive behavior started. I kept asking myself what I could have done better or differently. She accused me of abandoning her, but how could we have survived if I hadn't been working 2 jobs? I was too exhausted to clean when I got home, and she was yelling at me over the trash even though our kids had painted all the walls, ripped down the blinds, and made holes in the wall while she was watching. The issue was that I hadn't taken out the trash after 16 hours of work. The saddest part was that I thought I was to blame since I wanted my family back so badly. It took some time to realize the reality of everything. With my brother, everything changed. He urged that I meet the other members and make a decision afterward since he was keen to get me to play in his band. For me, that was the turning point. Still, I said no. However, I became acquainted with them and eventually began a brief relationship with a friend whom the rhythm guitarist had introduced me to. It was a relief to be in a loving relationship with someone who wasn't a 24-hour shouting battle that generally ended with me getting hit, and I fell in love with this 45-year-old woman right away. Now, throughout this period, my ex still had the keys to our apartment, as I mentioned. Every now and then, she would allow herself in and bring items for the children. It did not go well the first time she allowed herself in when my new girlfriend was around. That evening, she gave me a call to ask who she was and why she was in our apartment. I like to tell my ex that she didn't need to worry about my girlfriend. She left me and moved on to live with someone else. My ex has been inconsistent with my current girlfriend over the past 3 months and has even started stalking her. My girlfriend was asked to accept a friend request from my ex on Facebook. My ex contacted me angrily after my girlfriend declined, saying that I had to urge her to accept it because she needed to see the type of person I was bringing our children around. My girlfriend picked up the phone on my behalf and informed her that she didn't have to add her as a friend. Messenger or phone calls can be used for any communication pertaining to the children. That since my ex is not involved in my girlfriend's personal life, she does not and will not have access to our friends, family, or private life. My ex wasn't happy about this. My fiancé showed me the unexpected spike in friend requests she received from individuals who were friends with my ex. After that, my ex began sneaking into my house on the weekends and while I wasn't at work. When I heard my ex walk in, I was on the phone with my girlfriend, who was staying with me while I was at work, and she asked her if she needed anything. According to my ex, she wanted to check my refrigerator to see how much milk I had for when the kids arrived. According to my girlfriend, my ex left after we resolved the issue. Since she doesn't live there, I wanted the apartment key when I arrived home. After that, she made duplicates for herself using my son's keys. My girlfriend wanted me to move in with her when my lease expired so that we could get away from my ex. My former partner made every effort to obstruct this. When I called the police and told them I was taking her stuff, she was unable to identify anything that was left in my apartment that belonged to her. My kids told me that they are not allowed to talk about what they did with me because she doesn't want to hear it. And now we get to see them every other weekend. That was short-lived. She now asks my children for as much information as she can. It must be jealousy. On the seashore we reside. My girlfriend has a lot of money, and when we have the kids, we go to the aquarium, play on the beach, or take a quick stroll to the boardwalk to ride the rides. My ex tosses away any prizes they bring home. The problem with my ex is that she now dresses and looks a lot like my girlfriend, which I noticed the past few times she dropped off my kids. To fit her, she chopped and tinted her hair. My ex leaves the next week and tries to do the same thing with the kids regardless of what we do. She takes them to the beach if we make it there. She takes them to the zoo if we go there. She must prepare the same meal and ask our children to tell her who they liked better if she learns what we had for supper with them. My son said my ex was crazy and begged to move in with us last week. I'm going to use all of this in court. You better believe it. She started messaging me bears the other night, just when I thought things with her couldn't get any stranger. What on earth? When they began entering, my girlfriend was seated next to me. I became defensive right away and informed her that I hadn't asked for them and that my ex and I weren't speaking in that manner. I gave her my phone so she could check it out for herself. After looking at the photos, my girlfriend asked for my ex's phone number so she could send my ex back with her own bears and demonstrate the process. I questioned my ex what in the world she was doing over the phone. I informed her that my girlfriend, who was seated behind me, was furious after seeing the messages. My former partner attempted to claim that she intended to send them to someone else. My girlfriend told her that her boyfriend was on one end of the alphabet and my name was on the other. Since it was intended for someone else, she then asked her who the new guy was. My former partner hung up. I have no idea what kind of game my ex is playing. I think all of this is ridiculous. Allow me to clarify a few points, because the remarks continue to appear as though I'm still residing there. 1. In exchange, my girlfriend did not send bears. Because the photo showed my ex making duck faces in front of a mirror while holding her phone, she merely verbally responded to what my ex had done by saying that she should demonstrate how to do it. My girlfriend only made a joke about how unimaginative my ex was. 2. I no longer reside in the flat I once shared with my wife. I moved in with my girlfriend because she stole my son's keys and continued breaking in even after I returned them to my ex. Because of this, she cannot enter my new home, and my children do not even have keys. 3. Since I'm not my daughter's biological father, It's difficult for me to fight for custody of my children right now. However, I'm battling because my daughter's birth certificate lists me as the father, giving me parental rights. 4. I seriously doubt that my ex has taken the medications that were recommended to her. 5. I make sure my children are not being mistreated and look for bruises. However, she erred by becoming physical with her lover, who punched a hole in the wall and warned her that he would fight back if she raised a fist against him again. Update 1. My daughter officially turned 6 this past weekend. My ex unexpectedly asked if I wanted the kids for my daughter's birthday, even though it wasn't my weekend to pick them up. I took them, of course. They even gave me an additional 2 days. I assumed they were pawning the children on me in order to carry ahead with their objectives. The thing that bothers me, though, is that he is celebrating his daughter's birthday for the first time, and rather than doing anything special as her father, he is giving her to my girlfriend and me. Does anyone else think this is a little off? Update 2 is merely an update, yet this makes me scoff. My ex texted me angrily on Saturday night, expressing her wish that I'm effing delighted that I won. I asked what her issue was, even though I knew I shouldn't have talked to her. She gave me an incomprehensible response before telling me to go ahead and gloat. Gloat times 10 because she claimed that I was complicit in anything that happened to her. What am I meant to be in on? I questioned. She attacked me, saying that all men are pigs and unreliable, rather than giving me a direct response. I learned 2 things from this. She is now again intoxicated. She was cheated on by the fool she left me for. I remained silent. Any response from her like that is a fight, so I decided to stay out of it. After reading the text, I concluded that she received exactly what was due to her. My friend, who was married and had cheated on his wife 3 times, was the reason she left me for him. She said, "I know what I'm getting into," when I brought this up as she was leaving me. She must have believed that she was the end of his erratic behavior. She started attacking my girlfriend once she ran out of things to say about me. She said that she was ugly as F and that I could have had any lady, but I replaced her with someone hideous. My girlfriend is gorgeous on the inside as well. As I've indicated in previous articles, my ex has started stalking my girlfriend and attempting to alter her appearance to resemble her. He is also incredibly envious of my new girlfriend. As the onslaught went on, my ex told me that I couldn't fall in love with the first woman I effed after losing her and that I didn't love my current girlfriend. When I met my current partner, I had been separated from my ex for a year. I needed some time to get used to trusting people once more. And that trust wasn't granted lightly, it had to be earned. She went on to say that the only reason I adore her is because I lost my apartment and am living on my girlfriend's fucking shit. As she stated it so intriguingly, only when you're destitute is it love. Because my ex-wife chose to remain in the building and constantly show me that she left me for my friend, I had my own apartment across the street for her. I made the decision to move in with my girlfriend and change my job location when my lease expired. She was trying to start a fight, and I knew it, but I wasn't giving it to her. My ex went on to apologize for not being enough for me, just when I thought her assaults couldn't get much more juvenile or foolish. I really wanted to call her right then and tell her that I wasn't good enough for her. Was she leaving me, or did she completely forget which of us went and which one was replaced by someone else out the door? She left me for a married man who had strayed on his wife on several occasions. There was a real effing winner. She then attacked my girlfriend once more, claiming that we both knew my ex was the person I wanted to be with, because she was so much better than my girlfriend. I finally had enough and turned off my phone, asking her to get in touch with me when she was sober and better. My girlfriend asked me what was wrong when she got home a few hours later. I gave her my phone and told her to read it for herself after warning her that she might lose her temper. After reading it and laughing uncontrollably, she gave me my phone back and added, "Looks like he cheated." Thinking that the offensive remarks would cause her to doubt me, I tried to reassure her after saying that it appeared that way. She wasn't even bothered, Austin. She told me how my ex's narcissistic tendencies really show when she's intoxicated. And I'm willing to wager that she was angry that she couldn't come to me to exact retribution on him. My ex has not gotten back to me yet. As usual, I assume she felt foolish after reviewing those texts the following day and realizing what she had done. She can't tolerate being by herself, so I'm also betting she's back with him. Edit, I'm still working with the long-term effects of the trauma she endured for 20 years. Whatever I did, I was mistaken. I was wrong to dispute with her in an attempt to make her feel foolish when I was correct. That seems like a narcissistic guilt trip to me now. I'm not even conscious that I'm treading carefully, and a lot of it is subconscious. In order to prevent arguments and accusations, I used to automatically identify the caller and display my girlfriend the phone when it rang. It's a difficult habit to break, but I don't have to do it anymore. My girlfriend generally comments, "You're doing it again," without even looking at me when I do it. And that's where things went wrong. I believe that if she doesn't look, she didn't confirm that I'm speaking the truth, and I fear that this could lead to an attack in the future. I'm certain it won't, but breaking the loop will be difficult. I'm trying to sort out a lot of internal junk. I will eventually arrive. But isn't that the most difficult part? Recuperating from everything. In addition to cheating, you also had to uncondition the controls that were applied to you. You get into a new relationship just when you believe you've regained it, and then everything goes wrong. Instead of being yourself in the new relationship, you find yourself acting like you did in the previous one to avoid making a fuss. The path to rehabilitation is indeed long. Update 3. As of my most recent post, the man my ex-girlfriend left me for has cheated on her. They reunited 3 days later, just as expected. That's what I anticipated. She is now stuck with him and has no one to turn to, except for signing a few divorce papers and messages regarding the children. I haven't heard from her much since that last incident. I appreciate that, but I know it won't last long before she gets intoxicated and I get another drunken tirade. You're the best. Every year on Halloween, my band was invited to play at a friend's set. It has become a tradition since I started doing it a few years ago. I used to go with my ex. She didn't last year since I discovered then that my now 6-year-old daughter was actually his and that she was having an affair with my closest buddy. No one invited her. Nevertheless, she arrived with my children and her cheating partner, for whom she left me. I was enraged. She is aware that children are not allowed at these events because they are exclusively for adults, and I firmly believe that she brought them along in an effort to get me kicked out. She resisted security's repeated refusals to let her in, claiming that the children wanted to watch their father play. Security is yelling at me that I'm throwing a party for my children and telling me to get them out of there. She was told by my buddy who was hosting the party that she may remain and see me perform 2 songs, but that she would have to leave after that and that he would call the police if she didn't. My friend told me he was only doing it for my kids when I warned him not to cater to her. The night wasn't good. I couldn't see what was going on around the party since I was on stage. However, I was aware of it when I switched between sets. I learned, among other things, that my ex attempted to argue with my partner, which didn't work out well for her. She was reprimanded by my girlfriend for using our children for play. Many people saw this, and when I left the platform, a number of them pointed to me and told me where they were. Any altercation had ended by the time I arrived, and my ex was glaring at my girlfriend from the other side of the room. By openly declaring to everyone that she had 2 fathers, me and her mother's boyfriend, who was actually her biological father, my daughter embarrassed my ex. My ex was even more embarrassed by that. She thanked me for making me seem like garbage and left. However, my son battled to stay with me and wouldn't accompany her. After my ex's boyfriend found my girlfriend to ask if we could keep him, she consented and arranged with my buddy to keep my son at her side for the remainder of the celebration. The next evening, we took him home. All night long, my anxieties were shot through the roof. That night, I must have apologized 1,000 times to my son, friend, and girlfriend for involving them all. Worried that a physical altercation would break out between them, I kept looking around the audience to see where they were and what was going on, which caused me to botch up every song. It wasn't until I walked off stage that I realized she had left my son behind. She deliberately avoided being present when I took my son home the following evening. Her partner told me that she wanted to avoid a confrontation about what had happened since she knew I was going to drop my son off. He tried to talk to me about her and her behavior, and he apologized for everything. I left after telling him I wasn't going to get into a fight with him. Later that evening, my son calls to tell me that they are having a heated argument over me. Her boyfriend accused her of not being over me after growing weary of the antics she had been engaging in. He reportedly asked her what concerns her the most, that I moved on and she can't come back to me, or that I would have left her for my girlfriend if she hadn't left me when she did for him. My son says that was the beginning of it. I asked him if he needed me to come get him since I could hear people shouting in the background. No, he said. I spoke with him till it subsided. That's what's happening to me at the moment. Divorce is still ongoing, still going forward. I simply don't think about what I lost anymore. All I have to do is get my kids out. Indeed, to do that, I'm still fighting. Update 4, my girlfriend bought an elf because my 6-year-old daughter was constantly talking about it at her soon-to-be ex-wife's house. She thought my daughter would be thrilled to see the elf and sent a friend to watch her while she was there. To put it mildly, my daughter's response was frightening. My daughter was incensed the instant she saw the elf. She began yelling at it right away, telling it to get out, or she would tell Santa that it was a horrible and dishonest person. She threw one of the worst tantrums ever, yelling that it must end or she would be telling. It's not going to lie, my girlfriend tried to reassure her. He'll tell Santa she's good if she is, but he'll inform Santa if she's bad. She just needs to be good since he won't lie. My daughter gritted her teeth, glared at my girlfriend and said, "He's going to tell on me." What on earth? I was thinking about a lot of things at the time. What makes this one scarier than her mother's? How many falsehoods does she shout at home while my ex ignores them? To what extent is my ex ignoring me? My daughter has been lying to me lately. We have been trying to stop her from accusing her sibling of hitting her when he isn't even near her. When I brought that up to my soon-to-be ex-wife, she said she knew about it and was dealing with it. Now that I'm dropping my kids off today, I'm going to approach her about what occurred with the elf because I feel like I'm not looking too closely at it and something is severely wrong. It's becoming evident that there's much more going on there than I know, which is why I want to get her into treatment. There's a problem over there, that's very certain. Edit, I already know that she is the princess at her mother's because her real father is present and she is impervious to wrongdoing. Because my son is mine, I am also aware that he treats him horribly. Today, my girlfriend and I discussed the actions with the children. We inquired with my son about my daughter's behavior at home, attempting to throw everyone into problems by lying. Not as much, he said, which made us question why she does it in this place. My daughter became upset when I asked her why she lies about her brother, claiming that he does strike her, something he simply did. She said, just a minute ago, when asked when it occurred, he wasn't in the house at all. He had been away from her all day, bringing out the trash. Because of the deception, he stays away from her. She became enraged and threatened my girlfriend with her fist once it was pointed out that she was lying. When I questioned her why she misbehaves and isn't decent, she glared at me and said, I don't want to, after I took away her TV and video games. I'm not putting up with this nonsense. Therefore, it appears that I need to increase my discipline. Update 5. It appears that my daughter's outburst over the elf on the shelf caused a cascade of more serious issues. I looked into why she reacted the way she did, and I discovered a number of issues I was unaware I had. In summary, my girlfriend and I got my daughter an elf for the shelf over the weekend because she kept mentioning how much she adored the one at my soon-to-be ex-wife's house. When my daughter saw the elf, she grew angry and yelled for it to leave because it would tell Santa about her. This raised the question of why ours was problematic, but her mother's was excellent. I asked, but got no response. We had dinner with the ex-stepmother of my girlfriend. Despite her father's divorce, my girlfriend stayed with her stepmother after her father cheated on her. Since I am aware of my girlfriend's moral character due to her relationship with her ex-stepmother, this greatly alleviates my trust difficulties with my soon-to-be ex-wife. The stepmother briefly brought up my girlfriend's maltreatment at the hands of her stepfather on her mother's side during this dinner. Although he didn't say anything at the time, my son clearly reacted to it. He spilled the beans on what had been happening at home while driving them home. To be honest, I didn't anticipate that one. The affair between her husband and my wife appears to have been handled with a great deal of animosity and retaliation by the ex-wife of my soon-to-be ex-wife's lover. She is using all means at her disposal to make their lives miserable because she wants blood, including attacking my son, who is the son of the woman who divorced her husband, with her children. In response, these children find it amusing that I instruct my daughter, who is actually his daughter, to assault my son as well. My daughter told me it's a game when I questioned. When I told her that it was cruel, unfair to her brother, and not a game, she began to cry and threw a fit, claiming that I didn't want her to enjoy herself. She rolled her eyes and said, I don't want to, when I told her it will cease. It's enjoyable. What the F? I told her that I would no longer put up with it and that there would be consequences if it persisted. I'll take away everything if you mistreat your brother. No television, no video games, everything. I'm not going to have another breakdown over that. I asked my ex what the devil was going on when I dropped my kids off, and I confronted her with what I had been informed. The OBS has been making every effort to make their lives miserable, she informed me. She informed me that Christmas will be unpleasant for them because the OBS is aware of their side schedules for their side jobs and has been undermining them, which has an impact on their finances. There's only so much I can do, she informed me when I told her about his children being trained to harm our son and train our daughter to do the same. She is also unable to constantly watch them. When the shit that's happening here spills into my house, I told her to take action if she knew about it. Since my daughter believes it's acceptable to misbehave at my house and is still learning that actions have consequences, I know she isn't doing anything about it and that none of the children are receiving any discipline. Studying. I don't have enough of her to make the concept clear, so I have to reteach her every other weekend. So it's starting over every other week. This now clarifies why she is afraid of our elf rather than the one at home. Nothing is being done. I now have a new issue. We are all having a terrible time because of the OBS. Yes. Because of this, I'm bringing up in court that the children of the AP are abusing my children. You'd best expect me to bring this up. Edit. I'm requesting custody of both of my children. Not that I wasn't before, but now that I have a better understanding of what's happening in that home, I have a little more to work with. It does, in a sense, explain the elf. Since there are no consequences for her behavior there, my kid doesn't fear the elf. She is free to misbehave, and nobody is taking any action against any of these children. Since she knows she gets into trouble at my house, she was terrified of my elf. I always suspected that my ex was not taking any action to change the behavior of my children. This proves it. My daughter's reaction, my son's words, and her own words regarding it. I'm limited in what I can do. You're capable of a lot, because she is unwilling to deal with it. I have the final say. This will be used in court. Update 6. The official termination date was today. That we concluded everything while sitting on the Zoom court call. I was in a daze since I had been thinking about this day a lot over the past year, and now I was actually experiencing it. It ended after 5 minutes. Just 5. We weren't arguing about it. She had nothing to ask for. She couldn't. I found out what was what through paternity tests, a few brief inquiries that were largely unasked of me. I was questioned about the possibility of preserving the marriage. No. I was questioned about whether I wanted to move forward with the divorce today. Indeed, I found it funny that she denied any domestic problems or abuse when they questioned. That wasn't even asked of me. That caught my attention. I took a lot of hits. It wasn't a problem at all. Since the outcome would be the same, I suppose that didn't matter in the end. It's finished. Family court is the only remaining option for child custody, and given the current circumstances, it is increasingly in my favor. She posted it all over Facebook only 5 minutes before the court ended. My phone exploded with screenshots from my pals informing me of it, so I know this. She mentioned that although divorce is difficult, we must provide a positive example for our children. She even made the error of tagging me. She was criticized by my friends for not instantly turning to social media for likes and attention, saying that this would set a better example for the children. I suppose I am unable to comment on that. I'm telling a group of strangers here. However, none of you know me personally, and I waited for several hours. However, it's over, and I'm not sure how I should feel about it. I'm feeling blank. Version 7, I appreciate everyone getting in touch with me, as it's been a long time since I've spoken. I simply haven't felt like updating because of everything that's going on. One hurdle has been overcome since my divorce was finalized last month. With the exception of my ex losing her job and the AP she moved in with not earning enough money to support herself, it was a good Christmas overall. She came to me for assistance with the kids. She waited until 3 days before Christmas to tell me, so I wanted to urge her to get over it. My girlfriend and I then frantically searched for appropriate presents at well-chosen stores. I wanted to let my kids see her for the garbage she truly is before anyone told me I shouldn't have done anything. I nearly did. However, I told her that this was a one-time assistance because I couldn't give it to my children on Christmas. I will never again assist her. She asked to see where the children had slept when she arrived to pick up the gifts. She informed me it wasn't a request and that she had the right and the need to do so when I told her that wasn't a good idea. In response to her attempt to circumvent me, my girlfriend confronted her, warning her that she would never be permitted to enter her home and that she should contact if she had any issues. My former partner gave in. I then spent the remainder of the night trying to stop my girlfriend from tearing my ex's face off. To put it simply, my girlfriend has my ex totally ensnared. When the kids are with me, my ex tries, fails badly, and yells to anybody who will listen that she's cut out. She is not involved in our life, and it is none of her business. Additionally, my girlfriend has made it very obvious that my ex is not welcome in our lives. I may be a fool for letting my girlfriend handle things, but I did. She is more adept than I am at calling out the shit and is immune to my ex. My girlfriend is an immovable rock, yet my ex will try to manipulate me and confront me. Since then, my ex has not attempted to play any games. My children are in treatment. With them, things have gotten worse. My daughter's lies have been captured on camera since we installed it in the living room. She frequently punched my son and yelled that he had hit her when in fact he hadn't. She is beginning to realize that the falsehoods aren't working here after we challenged her about it. My kid is having problems not being able to live with me full-time yet and is annoyed at how long court is taking. He is quite attached to my girlfriend, so I'm not concerned about it. They don't conflict. I'm relieved about that. However, he is yelling, punching walls, and shouting with his mother. I'm doing everything I can to help him leave since I know he wants to. I'm sure that will occur. Putting all of that aside, my girlfriend's ex-boyfriend has started following her, which is my new issue. This ironically was pointed out to me by her other ex-boyfriend, my bandmate, who was the one who first introduced me to her. The other ex's statement that she's content, she's moved on, and he needs to let go and find someone else made this guy go insane the other night. In an attempt to annihilate himself, he crashed his car into a guardrail in reaction. My life is so weird that I'm not sure if I should sell tickets, laugh, or cry. That's what's new for me then. Update 8. D-Day occurred more than 2 years ago. 4 months ago, the divorce was finalized. I moved on a year ago, and she is still with AP. My life is so much better without her, for the most part. 2 years later, I'm still learning new things. She had an affair with another buddy of mine before to the AP. It hurt a little, and I wish I could say that. However, it did. It only lengthened the period of time I was an idiot. I thus failed to notice the signs twice. I'm unsure if my son is mine, even though I know my daughter isn't. He's not like me at all. I don't have any of his features, nor are all of his features hers. Even though I'm curious, I also question whether I truly want to know. I doubt I'll be able to withstand that blow again. Isn't ignorance bliss? I would do my best to move on from her as much as possible. When children are involved, it can be challenging because I have to co-parent until they turn 18. In the hopes that we could get along, I had attempted to avoid using gray rock. I wanted to demonstrate to the children that we could work together for their benefit. It's interesting how, even after everything is said and done, the guilty parties are always attacking and attempting to transfer the blame. The fact that she believes she could still command me and make all the decisions is even more intriguing. She continued to attack and lash out when I refused to give in. She tried her strategies on my girlfriend, and as a result, she has learned to avoid her. Dealing with a sociopathic narcissist is nothing new for my girlfriend, who is a formidable force. I am aware that I ultimately prevailed. I have a new child, a new home, a new love, and a new life. Compared to my ex, who is enduring the consequences of her behavior, I am doing much better. In addition to ruining our life together, my ex also damaged AP's, and his ex-wife is doing everything in her power to make their lives miserable. I regret to inform you that this has an impact on my children, as that awful show has completely upended their life. Hell has no wrath is best exemplified by the AP's wife. She had a severe financial impact on them, and my ex has already been to me on several occasions to beg for forgiveness. She chose to live off of her AP, who is being squeezed dry by his ex after losing her job 6 months ago and yet not finding another job. I simply detest the suffering it is causing my children, and I don't feel bad about it at all. I try my best for my children, but just for my children. Although I won't offer them money, I will take care of their necessities. Since that's who she is and a contributing factor in her termination, I'm not providing her the opportunity to go out drinking with my money. Yes, I am battling for my children's custody, the one that isn't mine even. I must remove them from her. My youngster has become very resentful of his mother. It was her fault. It was she who explained to him the reasons behind our divorce. He ensures that everyone is aware that his sister is the AP. Before I could, he told my girlfriend, I didn't want to burden her with all of my problems. I didn't want to add to my already heavy load as a recently divorced father. However, my son is upset. Positively, he has a strong bond with my girlfriend. His best friend is that. Her mother is my daughter. When things don't go her way, she uses the same strategies, lies, and manipulates others. The finest have taught her. She's been caught in her lies thanks to the cameras installed throughout the house. She enjoys blaming my kid for beating her and accusing others of being cruel to her. She can be seen shouting that he hit her as she runs up and hits him on video. She lost it at being caught after we approached her and showed her the tape. She hasn't accused him of hitting her since. She is now caught snooping into things she shouldn't be and playing one side against the other by claiming that someone told her she could have something when they didn't. And that's a different matter. Under the pretense of home security, the cameras are installed for my benefit, but I'm not the only user. My ex will accuse me of child abuse if my kid gets bruised from a tumble. She has attempted to accuse my girlfriend of harming my children. In actuality, the floor was lava, so my daughter chose to jump off the sofa in an attempt to reach the chair. As a result, I am providing my ex the video that documents the incident and our immediate response to the injury. That lasted for just a few weeks before my ex finally received the photo, proving that no one was harming the children and that we had documentation of every bump and scrape. It's terrible that I went to the extent of installing cameras, but I did. Knowing that my ex cannot use that tactic against me gives me peace of mind. When my girlfriend is home alone and I can check in to see what she's doing too while I'm at work, it also gives me a great deal of peace of mind. Playing video games online, watching movies, or reading books with my son or her younger brother, who is the same age as my son. My trust worries are alleviated by the cams.